Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 346th episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So today we have a talented MC I wanted to have on the page forever now, but as I mentioned in my recent Too Short review, I only managed to grab this record relatively recently for Record Store Day, but I put it in the docket of LPs to discuss right away because Keith Murray is a very skilled rapper whose name isn't brought up quite as much as it deserves to be, in my opinion. He initially began his career as MC Do Damage before making the fitting name switch and going on to craft some quality LPs throughout the 90s, like 1996's Enigma or 1999's It's a Beautiful Thing. But my personal favorite is definitely his 1994 debut here, The Most Beautifullest Thing in This World, as it's full of immaculate boom bap production as well as witty tons of character. Backing up the clock a bit, Heath was first introduced to Eric Sermon through K-Solo, and E would go on to let Murray feature on his 1993 No Pressure LP, as well as making him a resident member of Def Squad, which outside of Eric also included Jamal, the late Hurricane G, and Redman, someone who Keith Murray would go on to collaborate with many times. And while there's definitely certain distinct similarities in their voices and deliveries, you can still easily tell them apart when they're on the same track, as Redman is a bit more comedic and expressive, while Keith tackles his verses with a very wordy, multi-syllabic approach. This debut received plenty of positive reviews and praise upon its release, getting an impressive 4 mics from the source, and ultimately becoming the most successful solo work to come from a Def Squad member, outside of some of Redman's albums obviously. Though you have to acknowledge how pretty much all the output coming from this collective at this time was a group effort where the instrumentals and features were almost always resigned to in-house personnel. Undeniably, the staple that held all these projects together was Eric Sermon, as he virtually always would handle the bulk of production, and even though his work with Parrish as EPMD is what really solidified his place in hip-hop history, I feel like he's still ultimately kind of underrated as a producer, because he consistently contributed top-tier beats to numerous classics throughout the 90s, including pretty much anything Redman released in that era, as well as AZ's Do or Die, Jay-Z's Volume 2 Hard Knock Life, Blackout by Method Man and Redman, and The Platform by Dilated Peoples, not to mention Keith Murray's stellar studio debut here. Eric just always seems to have this ear for killer dark and grimy sample loops, as well as funky bass lines and punchy drums. And even when he isn't featured on a track here, you can still often hear him providing ad-libs in the background, which adds some extra flavor and character. I want to highlight this dude's far above average pen, and what better way to do that than by pulling from the mouthful of a title track, because after all, there's obviously a good reason why this single went on to be the breakout hit for this LP. You can get the sense that this isn't your typical MC right from the first few lines here, where Keith raps, "Y'all mythological rappers is comical, the astronomical is coming through like the flu bombing you, and embalming your crew too, with the musical, mystical, magical, you know how I do. With word attack skills and vocabulary too, come to hit you with this edition and it's all brand new. You're through, I'm interplanetarian like Doctor Who, so who? Born to get tripped on, word is Bond. I'm kicking rhymes till the AM vultures swarm, not Quincy, but I'm back on the block and not selling crack, accompanied with the fat funk flows and tracks. So what you sayin', Black, with all that yakety yak? My artifacts can't be beat with bats, I'm sayin'. I eat everything up on the menu, and bend you and send you swaying to be continued. I wasn't initially planning on sharing the second verse, but seeing how it's relatively brief and he was on such a roll here, I figured I might as well just give a few more bars. Starting with, spur of the moment opponents as suspects, caught up in precipitation rain of the tech. Neeks, I speak my concepts freak, the itchy Nissan she funk figures of speech. Now that shit is in the open, I'm open, pokin', scopin', waiting for the next rapper to get opened on, and break 'em down like an organic compound, That's the way of the world as the earth goes round. Now how the fuck you sound, I represent my click like a 4 pound. You better pack your levodopa medication for the shaking. Meditation from the earth, that quaking shit that we be making. Never faking, I gets down from my crown, clown. Shaking the membrane of Encyclopedia Brown. Freaking the funk in any throwdown. While you sustain to the sounds up in you. While over 90% of the instrumentals here had Eric Sermon's involvement, there was one track solely produced by Redman, as well as some co-production on certain other moments by Busta Rhymes and Rod KP Kirkpatrick. However, for guest appearances, we see a much larger pool of names, which included Def Squad affiliates like Eric Sermon, Jamal of Illegal, Redman, Hurricane G, Paul Hightower of 309, Ron J, and 50 Grand. Even though I shared some verses from it, I think I'm still gonna keep the title track as one of my overall favorites, since it's just so iconic and represents the album so perfectly. And then I'd have to name my other two as Danger and How's That. On to my honorable mentions, I definitely have to shout out tracks like Psychosomatic, Dip Dip Die, Herb is Pumpin', Get Lifted, Take It to the Streets, Bomb Bomb Z, and Escapism. Thank you for watching my 346th video. Next time we are going to stay in New York for a legendary group I've touched on once before. So tap in for that upload, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite tracks are from this impressive debut. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.